Hi, folks. Welcome to the next edition of ServerlessCraic from the Serverless Edge. Just a couple of quick introductions here from myself, Dave Anderson, author and contributor to Serverless Edge, and technical fellow Bizarre Voice.
Mark McCann, author contributor at the Serverless Edge, stay-at-home dad, getting back on the fitness wagon, bringing my 5K times down again after Christmas success.
Cheers, Mark. And Michael O'Reilly, software architect with Globalization Partners, and trying to get back on the wagon. I just can't catch it up in relation to exercise post-Christmas, so trying my best.
The secret is never get off the wagon.
But remain on the wagon. Yeah.
So we figured there's been a lot of good conversation about well-architected and the well-architected framework. And we've written about this in the blog around kind of well-architected and SCORP, or SCORPS as now, which is the 6 pillars of well-architected. The well-architected is really interesting because not only AWS, but both Google and Azure all have their own versions of well-architected, and they're all quite similar. But we've found massive success in just working through these pillars. So we figured we'd hit each pillar and maybe go through them and just kind of have a quick chat about it. So we figured we'd do operational excellence first, but anything else you want to say at a high level about the well-architected?
No, it's just to reiterate what you just said, but it's something we've found incredibly useful. It gives us a frame of reference, and it gives us a structure for asking better questions of our teams, of our systems, of our structures, and on our processes and practices. So it has been hugely useful for us trying to evolve engineering and evolve practices and evolve companies. And the fact that it's hardened and approved and it's been battle tested in thousands of companies, it gives it a lot of credibility, gives it a lot of, so it's not Dave, Mark and Mike's opinions, it's here's some good practice that is proven to work. You can still take it with a pinch of salt, but it's broadly in the right ballpark.
Yeah, I think that's a major strength, isn't it? It's what I like about it is it's the ubiquity, so it's something, whether you're an architect or an engineer or a manager in one organization, you go to another, it'll make sense, and it is done at that level.
Yeah. And also I think it's not a yearly process. We get compliance once a year with well-architected. It should be an idea of continuous architecture. And plus, as I sit here and drink out of my AWS certified water bottle, the reason why I would always encourage people to get certification is not for a bit of paper or a free water bottle. It's you have to learn well-architected as part of certification, and that is worth all of the thing in itself. But starting with operational excellence, the pillar's broken down, and the AWS pillar is broken down into 3 areas, and each area has a bunch of questions, maybe like 5-6 questions. So the 3 areas are prepare, operate, evolve.
I think there's a 4th one there about your organizational structure as well, but it's not really called out explicitly.
Yeah.
Okay. So prepare. So I mean, operational excellence means a lot of things to a lot of people, but let's maybe chat about prepare. What have you found with the prepare part of this?
Yeah, I think it's been great going into new areas and new teams and asking these sort of questions about, do you know who your users are? Do you know what the purpose of your team is? Do you know what your highest priority thing is? And some of these are very simple, basic questions, but are you properly set up to actually meet the challenge that you're faced with the business requirements that you're going to start pursuing, or the needs you're trying to meet? So having some of those simple questions about how do you determine what your priorities are, that's a very leading question, and it's fascinating if you do it in a safe space and the whole team are involved. You get a really good conversation back from the team about, we know what our priorities are for this week. We know what our priorities are for next week. We're not quite sure what we're doing the month after. That's a good conversation to have, and you're trying to tease out, are you properly aligned with the strategic direction? Are you do you have a prioritization framework, or are you just making up on the hoof? So it's good to start and have those opening conversations.
Yeah, and I think this is one of these. This is definitely this is definitely a pillar where I think you need the whole team involved in the conversation, because some of those, some of those questions that they kind of take you through require like management to be involved. They require the tech lead, they require the engineer, and it is understanding the big picture in relation to operations. And but there's a lot of good stuff in here, and this is kind of what we talk about, sort of consistency. Like this sort of section is where they kind of get into recommendations around things like playbooks and runbooks and standards around making preparations for your operation. So like we hear it all the time: prepare for failure. Everything fails all the time. So, and then also you got to prepare to move on as well. So like post implementation, say you're handing off to a different team, or you're handing off to you're moving on to a different place and you're bringing on new engineers or whatever, do we have the runbooks for all the operations that are involved in that particular workload? Do we have the playbooks that are linked into your observability and your dashboard, so that when things do go wrong, that there's a solid set of instructions for that person to deal with that problem, and they don't have to go in and then unpick what you've built out. So there's a lot of good, solid, foundational kind of guidance there, and really, and again, in terms of the architecture perspective, which we're all architects here, it's like it's kind of like table stakes for me in terms of consistency across what we would expect in relation to getting teams consistent across those workloads.
There's a whole thing as well about all the catches in here, the things you're listening out for, what prepare looks at. It's tribal knowledge. It's like, you ask a question, it's like, Fred says, I don't know why we do that, but Fred says we do that. Or ask my manager. What happens if they're not here? I don't know. It's you want the leadership and empowerment in the team and written down. So it's a great check for that kind of team culture.
Yeah, even simple stuff like, do you have enough people to meet the challenges? Do you have assigned owners who are going to be responsible for processes and practices and operations? It's simple stuff like that. It's like, if you can get these foundations in place early, then as you evolve, as you go down through the life cycle and start applying the other pillars of the well-architected, your chances of success have greatly improved, because your operational excellence pillar has set the foundations for the rest of the stuff to build upon it.
Yeah. And then the next one is operate. So we've got prepare and then operate. I like operate because there's a lot of kind of observability stuff in here, and I like the idea of a workload, or thinking of a workload as an asset, and how do you understand the health of that asset, and how do you monitor it and make sure it's working well.
But I think kind of building on the operational excellence sort of pillar in general, it's getting the team ready for when they're in production. It's a particular bugbear of mine when teams aren't thinking about how they're going to validate something when it goes into production. How do they spot regression when they're in production? What are their key performance indicators in relation to the health of the workload? And when things do go wrong, are they able to spot it? And have they thought about how to kind of remediate or correct those sorts of things? And then also, when you kind of go back into the prepare again, it's thinking, it's understanding those things will happen. No matter how good the team is, there's always something that is going to go wrong, or something you haven't predicted, or some sort of alternate path that has been missed. So when those things happen, have you got the correct procedures for learning? And how did we miss that piece, or what that defect actually teaches, so that you can then bake it in and toughen up your operation going forward. So it's kind of holistic kind of way of thinking, and I think in order to do that, the operating phase, you got to be able to observe. You have to have those mechanisms to really show you how your workload is kind of performing out in prod. So
I think it's critical just having those information radiators, those dashboards available, and it shouldn't just be for the team. So if you do it right, if you have proper observability, it should be all the way up to something you can show to the C-suite about, here's this team working on this particular capability or feature or value stream, and here's how it relates to our vision and strategy. So that's what proper operational observability looks like, right? And it's across everything, and it should be not only the health of your workload, but it should be the health of your team. You know, the DORA key metrics and that type of thing should be part of this. How do you operate, right? That's sustainable pace for the team as well.
And then the last one's a bit of a funky one, which is evolve. You prepare, operate, and evolve. And it's quite simply, how do you evolve operations? And evolving operations doesn't mean cutting cost and reducing the budget, making them better.
And it's what Mike said earlier there. It's really about that continuous improvement mindset. It's about those feedback loops being in place and about evolving. Like we're big into worldly mapping. You know, evolution is a cornerstone of worldly mapping. And you know, if you don't take these signals that your systems and your workloads are given to you and use it to evolve and improve and get better, then there's no point having observability and dashboards if you're not going to actually do something about it.
And that's the thing. That's the key point. And I know, I don't know if we mentioned it there, you know, we've written about our SCORPS process, and that's the whole driver behind that is that continuous improvement. And your operations are going to generate a lot of data and a lot of useful information that you as an engineer or a manager or an architect can use to evolve your current setup. You know, so we should always be looking to learn from our wins and also our failures, the things that didn't go quite well.
Yeah. And as well, I mean, I think, and this pillar sets us up nicely for the rest of them. And we always do this one first, because once you think about evolving operations, you're evolving the other pillars: cost, security, reliability, performance, and sustainability. Like, you can always save more money, make the thing faster, make it more reliable, make it cheaper, make it more secure. They're constant evergreens. So sometimes you think people like, it's operations, I'm done, it's running, it's fine. There's always things you can improve.
Yeah, I think it really is about, are you set up for success? You know, do you have the foundational building blocks in place to increase your chances of a successful development cycle or successful quarter or month or whatever, right? So
very good.
It really is foundational. So there you go.
So that's the operational excellence pillar from Well Architected. So that's the crack. So again, we'll be talking more about this in the future. We'll go through the rest of the pillars. More writing on this on the serverlessedge.com on the blog, and look at Twitter at Serverless Edge. And there's also pages on LinkedIn and Medium. So thanks very much.
Cheers.
Sure. Bye.